Well, hello, friends. I hope you're having a great day today. You know, the Bible says, in everything give thanks, for this is the will of God in Jesus Christ concerning you. Now, make sure you get that. It said in everything. It didn't say for everything. Because I have never been thankful for a headache. Never been thankful for a backache. I've never been thankful for a bad day. But I can be thankful in and through all of these things, because through all of this, God never leaves us. He's right there. So there's always something to be thankful for. So let me encourage you today. Whatever life brings your way this day, go ahead and decide that you're going to be thankful for everything that God does. You're going to be thankful that He never leaves you and His hand is in your life every step of the way, regardless of how bad sometimes it may seem. Well, guess what? It is Thursday, December the 15th. That means we are 10 days away from Christmas. Can you believe that? Just 10 short days away. Now speaking of that, Christmas falls out on Sunday this year. And so we are going to be having morning worship service from 10 to 11. We've done this one other time since I've been pastor here about, 7 or 8 years ago, something like that. And it was just a great time of worship there together that morning. So I want to encourage you to be in the house of the Lord that day. We're going to have a great time worshiping Jesus Christ on that day. Now this week we are dealing with the subject that we've called generational faith. We've called it generational faith because we have learned from Hebrews chapter 11 that faith is something that must be transmitted from generation to generation. So we've got a great responsibility to the generation following us. Whether they're our children or not, we have a great responsibility to that generation to see that faith moves on through the next generation. That's the only way that something exists. That's the only way it survives, is if we beget it. You know, we have to do that. So it's our responsibility to see that faith moves forward. Now I realize that next generation has got to choose that, I realize, but make sure that we do everything in our power to live it in front of them and cause them to see that this is the life they want, this is the life they need, this is truly the life that is worth living. Now, we were using Proverbs 22:6 yesterday. It says, train up a child in the way that he should go, and when he's old, he won't depart from it. And that's not just to parents. We've determined that that's to all of us, because all believers have a responsibility to the generation that is following them. That verse teaches us that we need to be consistent, we need to be diligent, and we need to start young. We can't wait till someone's 18 years old to start trying to teach them the truths of Jesus Christ. We can't do that. We have to start when they are young, because that's when the devil's going to do it. And you really have to ask yourself at the end of the day, are the things that I'm doing, am I cooperating with God's plan for the next generation? Or am I cooperating with the devil's plan for the next generation? Because both of them have a plan. God has a plan to do something awesome with their life and to advance the kingdom. And the devil has a plan. He wants to destroy their life and ultimately take them to hell. And so we have to ask ourselves, which plan are we cooperating with? And a lot of Christians really cooperate with the plan of Satan more than they do the plan of God, because we don't put emphasis in that next generation. And we don't put emphasis on the things of God. We don't make them important. And so we're really cooperating with the plan of Satan. Now, there are a lot of people that do. There are a lot of folks that really strive to cooperate with the plan of God. And then they have to turn around and they have to send their kids to school. And then the kids go to school and they have to deal with improper environments at school and have to deal with some teachers who are godless, and they have to deal with this new age curriculum today. And my goodness alive, only in America could we get to the point to where, it's like we're rolling the dice. Is a boy, or a girl, or is a boy a girl, or a girl a boy, or are they both? Or only in America can we get to that kind of stupidity in our world, and we put all of that stuff on our kids. And we've got to do everything that we can to balance that thing out. And not just balance it out, we got to break the scale and make this thing fall towards the kingdom and towards the Bible instead of toward the influence of the world. Because Satan's using everything that he can. Now, I said all that It sounds like I'm against the public school system. I'm not. I graduated from the public school system. My kids graduated from the public school system. My grandchildren will probably, I don't know. That's left up to the parents. I don't know. So I'm not against the public school system, but I'm just saying our kids are surrounded by this stuff, parents and grandparents. And so we've got to do what we can to balance this thing out and shift it the other way. Now, Satan does everything that he can to try to corrupt our children in the early stages because he knows they're more reachable then. But it is possible for us to train them as best that we can so that God, the teachings of God will stick with them, because we only have a limited amount of time that we can do that. We can't do it forever. There's going to come a time when we don't hear from God for our children anymore and we are not their spiritual covering. That day will come. And we've got to do our part between now and then. That was the case with the life of Moses. The command had been given for all of the male children in Egypt that were Israelites to be killed. Moses' parents were not afraid of the king, and they hid Moses. They protected Moses. They preserved Moses as long as they could, and then they released him. And when they released him, they had done enough that it stood the test of time, to the extent that when Moses grew up, the Bible said he refused to be called the son of Pharaoh's daughter. He chose to be mistreated with the people of God than to enjoy the pleasures of sin. He regarded disgrace for the sake of Christ greater value than all the riches in Egypt. He left Egypt not fearing the king, that same lack of fear that his mom and dad had for the king. Moses had it as well. He feared God more than he feared the king. By faith, he kept the Passover. He followed the practices of God. By faith, he led Israel through the Red Sea. All of that happened because his mom and dad did the best that they could in teaching him the ways of God in the time that they had with Moses. It's important that we do what we can while they're young. You know, the Bible says in Proverbs, and I forget the chapter and verse, but it says that we should discipline our children while there is hope. That means there comes a time when we run out of time and we can no longer be that spiritual covering. And we should take advantage of that. The devil knows it, and the church very well should know it as well. Vladimir Lenin was the leader of the Soviet Union. He was a communist and a Marxist, and he stated the following three things. He said, "Give me a child for the first 5 years of his life, and he will be mine forever. Give me 4 years to teach the children, and the seed I have sown will never be uprooted. Give me 1 generation, and I will transform the whole world." Do you understand? The devil knows how important it is to be diligent in training that next generation early. And if the devil knows it, the church should know it as well. It's important, friend. Let's take up our responsibility. Let's do our job, and let's make sure that faith passes to the next generation. Well, hey, it's been good being with you today. I've got to get out of here. I look forward to being with you tomorrow on Friday's edition of Take 5. Until then, God bless you. Have a great day. Remember, friend, trust the Lord. He will never fail you.